It was sunny. Not now.
It was sunny. Now it's not sunny anymore and it's slightly cool.
I may have to put my sweatshirt on. I wanted people to see that I had other clothes besides this sweatshirt, but I'm cold, so this is the only shirt that I own.
This is the only shirt that I own. I feel like that about some stuff that I wear all the time. Like, I have other clothes, I just wear the ones I like, and this is what I like.
Just wear the same 3 things. That's pretty much it. Okay. We have not done one of these Q&A videos in a while, and these are some of my favorite to film because it's just fun. It's easy for us to film, easy for us to edit, and it's fun to see the questions that y'all have for us. So this is going to be first Q&A that we've done in a while. We'll leave a link in the description to some of the other Q&As if you're interested. We got like 124 questions, so thank you to each and every one of you who sent these in. We're going to go down through here and just do the best we can on answering them. We're just going to start in the order that they were posted, and we're going to get into it.
Let's get into it, guys.
Okay, first question by David F. And we've got the computer set in here, so if you see us kind of looking off, that's what we're going by. David F. Here are a few. Which musicians do you listen to most on a regular basis? What's your favorite Southern Appalachian food? If you could sit down and have a long conversation with someone from history, who would you pick? Do you have any spooky stories? Okay, I'll go first. Which musicians do you listen to most on a regular basis? I would say probably we both listen to a variety of musicians, but I mean, mostly country stuff. If you've been on the channel, you know that. So I'll listen to people like Waylon Jennings, some Hank Jr. stuff, some George Jones, lots of old country people. But then I like lots of other stuff too. I like some bluegrass stuff like Tony Rice or Ricky Skaggs. Even some classic rock stuff. It just kind of depends. But we like a lot of country stuff. Favorite Southern or Appalachian food? Green beans. I really like green beans. I just think that they're a good addition to any kind of food you're cooking. Sit down and have a conversation with someone from history. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I don't know if you could, if it count, if you could sit down and have a conversation with Jesus.
Yeah, he might have been thinking about like in more, like slightly recent history, but yeah, I mean, I think we would all definitely, like, that's, yeah.
If that was the option. Do you have any spooky stories? We actually have some videos about that we did, so we'll leave a link in the description for those spooky stories. Katie, what are your answers to these questions?
I go back and forth between, I'll get on a country music kick and I'll listen to like,
Clint Black, Travis Tritt.
Yep, I get on the Travis Tritt, Clint Black train. The Mark Chestnut train, but then I'll totally switch from that and I'll start listening to like Def Leppard and the Eagles and like Bon Jovi and stuff like that. So I just go through seasons.
You like the Eagles?
Right now I've been listening to a lot of Bon Jovi because that's just, I don't know, I like Bon Jovi. So it kind of does go back and forth. My favorite Appalachian food, I really like Mama's homemade biscuits. Now, that's not exactly Appalachian, but I do like that. So, if I was going to say, what do I like that's Appalachian? I really, really like fried potatoes and ramps. That's not something we eat a lot, but I really like it. So, it's special when we do get to eat it. Okay, if I could sit down with one person in history, actually, I would sit down with Mr. Les Paul, the man who invented the Les Paul guitar. That would have been really cool to pick his brain about, like, how did you come up with that? And he was a very talented guitar player, so... Oh, Les, it would be.
Les. Okay, this is another question from another gentleman named David. Have you guys ever been on a hike, seen something, or felt something you couldn't explain that made you feel uneasy? The first thing that come to mind was we were hiking one time years ago in the snow here behind the house. And we were hiking, and I kind of forget how the story goes, but there was tracks in the snow. Actually, we had been hiking the day before, and there were tracks. And we kind of went the same route, and Dad thought they were cat tracks, like
mountain lion tracks. That it could be, but then we were like,
possibly.
no, it's probably just a really big
But
bobcat.
whatever it was did track us, and that was kind of creepy.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Okay, this is from Praise the Lord 58.
There you go.
I absolutely love your channel and your parents' channel. God is good to direct me and my husband to your videos. God shines through y'all. My question, which thank you so much, that's very kind. My question is, how old were you when you were saved and accepted Jesus as your personal Savior? I'm 64 and I was saved when I was about 12.
I was 9, I think. And
I think we were both 9. You got saved first.
Did I?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I was 9, but what I always like to say about that is when you're young and you're raised in church like we were, I feel like I accepted God then, but I feel like later on in my life as a young teen, maybe more of an adult, do you really get an understanding for what that means? So like, I guess sometimes I think about being saved and then living your life with God or for God to the best of your ability. I think of those things as 2 separate things. But when I actually got baptized and went before the church was when I was 9. So
yeah, and then I was maybe shortly after you. Next question is by Dancing Girl. Who are some of your top favorite YouTubers? What are you most proud of? Favorite story in the Bible? Appreciate all the hard work you put into this channel. Thank you. Who are some of your favorite YouTubers? You know, that's funny. I don't feel like I watch YouTube all that much.
Hunting Public. Me and Dad watch a lot of the Hunting Public, and we watch this guy, Creek Fishing Adventures. I really like his channel. Spirit of the Outdoors, we watch him.
Pastor Law and Homesteading Pastor.
Pastor Law, we watch them.
We'll put these channels in the description too. I watch a girl called Kaci Nicole. She does a lot of devotional videos. That's cool.
I did watch for a long time, and poor Brent, I need to catch back up with him. This man, Cerro Gordo, this man who bought this abandoned mine in California. That's a really good channel. You should look that up. Cerro Gordo is his channel, and it's pretty serious, pretty awesome.
We like to watch Bri From Scratch. We like her.
Yep, she's pretty cool. Mines of the West, that's another person who explores abandoned mines. Gotta love that too.
Who else? There was someone else I was thinking of. It kind of depends. I mean, I'll go through spells where I watch stuff. I'm not good about like really keeping up with people, just to be honest. I'll kind of, if I see a new video in the feed, or I mean, I don't know, I'm so busy that I don't have a lot of time to sit down and watch. But we do love YouTube, obviously. Let's see, what are you most proud of? Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know what I'm most proud of.
I'm most proud of my sister.
I'll say I'm most proud of my sister. Okay, favorite story in the Bible. That's another one that's hard because it's, how can you pick a favorite when there's so many good ones? Of course, one of the stories, when I think about Bible stories, one of the first one, and I don't know why, maybe because I learned this in Sunday school as a kid, but one of the first one that comes to mind is
Man in a Fiery Furnace.
Yep.
That's my favorite.
Yep. So that is definitely an awesome story. Okay, next question is by Rissy Mandy. Now we have got a lot on this question. We've got several of these duplicate questions, so I'll let Katie answer. But the question is, any future plans in the making for Katie and Nick? Y'all seem to fit so well together, and obviously have a great time when you're together.
So as many of you know, me and Nick live 2 hours away, and so it's a constant game of either I get on the road and drive out there, he gets on the road, drives out here. We live about a little over 100 miles apart. So right now, I would say I just am kind of like let God lead, whatever God wants, and Nick says that too. So I'm like, there's so many logistical things in the works. Nick has a house, as I've mentioned before. I showed a picture. It's pretty much almost completed, so I don't know if that means I'll be moving or what that means. I'm not saying, I don't know. I know I love Nick and I would like to, I'm thinking we'll get married one of these days.
Yeah.
So, as far as future plan goes, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. He'll come out here and visit, I'll come out there and visit, and God will just have to work the rest out. He's going to come out here this evening, to visit, so that'll be nice.
Yes, I think that's a good answer to that question. Laura Knowlton wants to know which one of us sings harmony and which one sings melody.
Of course, sings the harmony.
Yeah, most of the time, but Katie can totally sing harmony too.
I just don't.
But she can. Pat Grant, as twins, is there anything totally opposite about you? Yes. I think that there's lots of opposites, but like total opposites, but then there's lots of things that we are totally alike on.
Yeah, I mean, like, for instance, we were talking about this the other day when Austin was here. I don't know where I got my love for rock music. Like, nobody else in the family. I did not grow up listening to Def Leppard, Bon Jovi, Judas Priest, and the rest of them. You know what I mean? That is not something I grew up listening to. And I love classic rock. And you might call Judas Priest heavy rock. I don't really listen to a whole lot of their stuff. Maybe just a little bit. But I love that music, and nobody else, and Corey hates it, but I absolutely adore it, and Nick likes it too.
I like some Bon Jovi and Def Leppard, like, sure, but I'm just really a country person. That's really what I latched on to when I heard that as a kid, and of course gospel stuff, but that's one way. And then our personalities were so alike, but I think we're so different, kind of in lots of other ways. But I think we balance each other out well there.
Corey is very structured, very scheduled, very kind of on this track, and I'm like...
I'm a control freak.
I'm like out there. I'm like...
Katie is absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm like out there tethered to... this is what I always say. I'm like, I'm out there in the ether hanging by a thread, and that's how I live my life. It's just totally unplanned, ungrounded, just out there, and I like it.
Some people like can be spontaneous like that, and I'm very planned. You are very spontaneous, and so in those ways we're like direct opposite, but we balance each other out in that way.
It's true. So it works. I really think it works.
And then she also asked, Corey, what is you and Austin's favorite place to go together? That's a good question. I'll be honest, some of my favorite times is when we're just home on the weekend.
To the couch?
Yeah, to the couch, no. Like when we're home, if we get to work outside or do house projects or just doing stuff together, like I really enjoy that. Like even if we just went out to dinner together, just simple stuff like that.
That is nice.
Nora Donovan wants to know if we would sit down with our precious granny, share some memories. She says, I've become a granny groupie.
Oh.
Here's the thing about Granny. She's funny about if you can get her on video. Sometimes she's all about it, and then sometimes we've said, hey, we want you to get on video, and she's like, oh, Granny don't look good today. And we're like, Granny, you always look good. So
it's hit or miss with her. It's hard to convince
hit or miss, but we would like to do a video with her.
Because we do have lots of fun Granny memories.
Oh, yes. Okay, Carson has a couple of questions. He says, from his wife, Marlene, do either of you have recipes in your mom's new cookbook? No. But I did take some of the pictures, so I think my name is in the cookbook.
But I didn't do any recipes.
What is your own opinions on a perfect date night? I'll be honest, I'll kind of go back to what I said before. I mean, a perfect date night, I don't know. I mean, if it's warm and it's nice outside, it would be super fun to go do something outside, like walk around the lake or go to the lake.
These birds are like upset.
We got a hawk over there.
Maybe that's what they're yelling about.
We got some blue jays, and that's a hawk. That's a small hawk, so maybe it's a baby. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, being outside, eating a nice supper, just hanging out together, something like that for me.
I was gonna say the same thing. It's funny when I go to visit Nick, and he lives with his parents while he's almost got his house done. And so what we usually end up doing there is we'll go fishing in the evening, come home in time to eat supper. Everybody takes a bath, gets on the couch, and watches Matlock or Walker Texas Ranger. And even though that's not really a date night, because it's just like we're just what we're doing, I think that's my perfect idea of a date night. Walker Texas Ranger, food, and fishing.
Yes. And then they also ask, has Austin or Nick ever cooked for us? And what was it? I know Austin's cooked for me before. Like a meal. That was the question. Cooked a meal. I can't tell you like specifically. I can't remember off the top of my head what the meal was. But I will say, at least in our marriage, cooking wise, I cook a lot of stuff. But he is so much better at cooking meat or fish or anything like that. So if I have the opportunity, like if we're going to have steaks or fish, I leave it up to him.
Wow. Yeah.
He's so much better at it. I mean, I'll do like chicken in the oven and stuff, but I'm not as good as pan frying stuff because I usually get it overdone. But he's like perfect at it.
Nick has cooked for me before, and a lot of the times if we catch fish, he cooks them. So he's cooked fish for me lots of times. All different types of fish that we've cooked, and he's very good at it. Thank you, Nick.
Okay, Wanda Gordon has got some questions. Does your dad sing? Yes, he does, and he actually has a beautiful voice, but he says that he can't sing, so he never
shy,
does.
And he won't, yeah.
Will you be with your mom at any cookbook signings? Yes, we will at least get to go to some. We're going to try to go to all of them if we can, but hopefully at least one of us will get to be at all of them. Yes. What kind of woodwork items does Nick make?
Nick does mostly furniture. He's built lots of furniture, dressers, tables, nightstands. He can do frames. He's built lots of frames, cutting boards, that kind of thing, but he's good at furniture. He built Corey a nightstand. I forgot about that. So, yes.
Yes, he built me a nightstand that I love. He is really talented. If I could, I would like commission him to just like build all my furniture.
Nick is very good at woodworking.
I already have furniture, but I could just replace it.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, Nick, you don't need to buy furniture for your house.
Oh, yeah,
you can
just make it.
Yep, make everything you want to make.
We've got several questions. This is from Eva Gibson, but we've got several questions about both of our Les Pauls because we done these videos like, oh, we bought these Les Pauls and we're really excited, and then they kind of disappeared and we never showed them again.
I played mine this morning. I played mine probably. I mean, I go through spells where I'll play it every day for 2 months straight, and then I get busy and I won't. But that's not all. That's all wrong. I do still play it and enjoy it, and maybe one of these days we'll break them out.
Yeah, we need to. I don't play mine as much as Katie does, shame on me, but
it's fun. I mean, come on.
It is fun.
That's why I listen to this classic rock, listen to Bon Jovi and pretend I'm the one playing it. Hilarious. Okay.
Alright, this question is from Green Pixie. I really admire how close you are with your family. Thank you, that's very sweet. What lessons have you learned from your family that is important to who you are? What would you really miss about your family and hometown if you had to move to another country? Wow, that's a good question. All these are good questions. Man, so many important things that we have learned from just mom and dad alone, let alone all the other family that we've been, privileged to have in our life. One lesson from mom that she always taught us that comes to life basically is just to be grateful for everything, that in any situation you're facing in life, that anyone could have it worse than you. There's very often most people that do have it worse than you. You should be grateful for the smallest of things, even your clean bed and your water to drink.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a huge lesson that's really benefited me.
Yeah, and just kind of this idea of your moral compass. It matters a whole lot about who you are, what kind of person you are, and what you do when people are watching and when people aren't watching.
Because God's always watching.
Because, of course, God's always watching, but it matters a whole lot about who you are. And something that I've learned along the way is they may forget what you look like, what your name is, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So
yep.
You want to think about that.
Yes.
How you make other people feel, treating other people with love and respect.
Doing the right thing always. Yep. That's something that they stressed always was it don't matter if it's tough. You always do the right thing no matter what.
Don't matter if it's fun, don't matter if it's popular, do the right thing. So that's a lesson that's been very important. And if I had to move to another country,
what would we miss? Oh my gosh.
I would miss just that
the
kinship.
landscape.
Yeah, well, the kinship of everybody being together all the time. Even Corey doesn't live here, she's still here all the time. Like that, knowing I'm close to my aunt and uncle, to my grandparents, like I would feel lonely not having them physically close. And then the landscape, yeah, I would miss my mountains real bad.
Oh yeah, I would just miss the landscape and the family, and it's a small town, and I often joke and say, yeah, our roads are just basically a little road through a cow pasture.
That's what it feels like.
So I would miss that a lot. Alright, PZH has a few questions. Favorite memories from childhood where we had to use our imagination to play games, or what did you have fun doing as rural kids? I can't say that word.
We built sheet houses.
Or teepees.
We would build sheet houses in the basement on Granny's porch, and we would always play like everybody had their own little house, and we would all come together and pretend like it was the evening time and make mud pies, and that's the traditional Appalachian thing, playing outside, making mud pies, trying to get the adults to eat them.
Yeah.
Had a good time doing that.
We did all kinds of stuff, and we would make little houses out of rocks, just outline the rocks on the ground and make houses. I will say my personal favorite was log babies. We had some logs where someone had sawed a tree, and we wrapped them in blankets, and they were log babies.
We pretended like they were babies.
That was fun.
We were never, ever, ever bored. We never watched TV. We never played video games. We never sat inside. If it wasn't raining or snowing,
even if it
was snowing, we were still outside.
Yeah.
If it wasn't lightning, then we were allowed to be out there.
Yeah, we were always outside. Okay, this is a very interesting question. This is from Donna, and I know I'm going to mispronounce your last name.
Intino?
Yeah, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. She says, I love how close your family is, but could you share how you balance your family time, creative time, spiritual time, and alone time? I could really use some ideas. That's very interesting.
I don't. I don't do a very good job is the answer.
Sometimes it can be hard. If you're a close-knit family, which we're so thankful that we, are really close and that we, have always had that privilege, but it can be hard sometimes balancing your time because you are really close, and sometimes you're like, okay, I love you guys, but
get away.
I need to do my own kind of thing. I know for me, like when I still lived here, I would just kind of go to my room sometimes in the evenings, and it's not because I didn't want to hang out with people, but I could just go in there and shut the door and do my own thing. And now it's different because like in the evenings, sometimes I'm here, if we have supper here once or twice a week. But even at home, Austin might be down in the basement messing with his bow and his fishing stuff, and I'm upstairs like working on a video or reading a book. For me, spiritual time is usually in the morning. Like, I know for me, I'm a morning person, and if something is really important, I have to do it in the morning, because in the evening when I come home and I'm tired, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. So I definitely do that in the morning. My advice for anyone struggling with their schedule or struggling with balancing those things out would make a list. You can type it out or just write it out and put down what your kind of core responsibilities are, kind of what you're responsible for, what you like to do, what you want to do.
It's important to you.
And kind of look at it and organize it that way. I have to do that every so
and then
often.
Also setting boundaries of like, sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to walk down to the creek because that's my alone time. I'm not far from home at all. I can see my house, but that's the alone time, and everybody knows I'm going down there by myself so I can have peace and quiet, sit in my creek, look for rocks, whatever. So it's not, when I say boundaries, that's not like, oh, set boundaries because your family's mean to you. I just mean set specific times. Like if I want to do something important, play my guitar, exercise, whatever, I do it in the morning. I do have that spiritual time when it's quiet. At night, when you're about to go to bed, or in the morning is the best time for me. And then just set those blocks of time and set those boundaries. I'm like, no, you can't come into the creek, Corey. Sorry, this is a me trip, not a you trip.
But we'll have a together trip the next time. Yeah, something like that. Tiffany Harris says, can y'all, as twins, feel what the other feels? Like if one gets hurt, does the other feel it? Or can you tell what the other is thinking? I mean, like if I punch Katie in the arm, I'm not going to be able to feel that. But I will say there's been many times where we have been like physically apart. Maybe if she's in one place and I'm in another place, and I just sense that something is wrong, and very often I'm right. Or vice versa. Definitely if we're together and like one of us is upset or hurting, it's very easy for us to see.
And we can, I don't have to talk to Corey to know what she's thinking or feeling. I can just look at her. And lots of times if we're in a place with other people, I can exchange any look to her, and we can just kind of communicate without having to really talk. She just knows what I'm thinking, and I know what she's thinking, and that's fun because everybody else is like, "What's going on?" But we know. Yeah.
She also is curious about how you and Nick met. We got a lot of questions on here on how you and Nick met and how I met. So maybe it's really the same way. So maybe we can briefly
let me hit that real briefly. So Corey and Austin met online, and I thought, well, they met and they got married, so what the heck, I'll try. And so I met Nick online. I was very skeptical. I'm very scared. I always think someone's out to get me, and I thought this is a good, someone's going to get on here, pretend they're somebody else, and kidnap me. But that is not what happened. Nick actually graduated with one of my cousins, because I have family on both sides who live in Canton. So we met online and hit it off, and a lot of the people he knows I know. And Corey and Austin, of course, didn't know each other at all, but they met online too, so just kind of worked out.
Yeah, that's something that I never would have done, but it just, I had a really close friend suggested, and of course, I mean, looking back, that was, a God thing. He wanted us to meet, but
it's true.
So we're going to do about 3 more questions, and then this video is definitely going to have a part 2. So Valentine D, our friend Valentine, says, favorite Bible verse, favorite childhood song, what's something you've always wanted to try? Man, favorite Bible verse, that's really hard because there's so many. I will say I find that I will read a scripture and really kind of meditate on it for maybe weeks or months at a time, and then I kind of move on to a different one, and then I'll kind of go back to that and say, oh yeah, I remember that verse, it helped me through this time or that time. So one that I guess right now that is helping me a lot is a very popular one, Isaiah 41:10, which is fear thou not, for I am with thee, be not dismayed, for I am thy God, that verse. And I really like it because a lot of the times in the Bible when God says not to be afraid, one of the number one, or if not the number one reason is because I'm with you. Don't be scared because I'm there. So it's very powerful for me.
I like Philippians 4:6. I like all of them, to be 100% honest. It'd be hard for me to pick because they all speak to a different feeling at a different time.
Yes, exactly. Favorite childhood song? Oh my gosh, when we were kids, we loved listening to Shania Twain. I had a CD of hers that I absolutely wore out.
Yep, and I liked to, when I was real young, I liked to listen to Joe D. Messina.
Yeah.
So, gotta love that.
What is something that you've always wanted to try?
I always wanted to weld metal, big metal, like construction site metal. I thought it would be cool because I'm like, either that or operate a piece of heavy equipment or drive a dump truck. Something that is big on a construction site I want to do.
I've always been interested in fiber arts. I mean, and I don't know if that really counts because I've done stuff before. I even took a sewing class. I actually sewed a skirt that I still have and wear sometimes to my grandma. But I always wanted to get really good at sewing and make my own clothes, but it's never happened. Never had the time.
Or do stuff with tile mosaics.
Oh, yeah,
get really good,
fun.
Tile people's floors for them and stuff.
This
is
fun.
Totally random. Corey's like, I want to do something with fiber, and I'm like, I want to drive a dump truck.
And I want to tile a bathroom.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. Okay, Cheryl says, has a family tree been researched or documented? How far back were you able to go? What part of Europe did your ancestors come from? This question is for Katie.
Alright, so I never made it across the pond. I got back to about 1870, or maybe possibly a little earlier than that. And it was on my mom's daddy's side. And I got all the way back to, Corey and I are the 9th, and then some of our cousins have kids, so we could count them as the 10th, the ones that live here. So that's 10 generations in western North Carolina. All of my mama's daddy's people came from Madison County, Graham County, Cherokee County, Haywood County. So a very large portion of my family and a whole lot of the other side of the family came from right here. So, but as far as what part of Europe, I don't know that. I didn't get back that far. Could I have probably dug a little harder? Yeah, but I didn't. So,
Karen wonders what Austin and Nick do for work. She says she's seen the video where I visited Austin on his lunch break. That was an interesting video because I got some comments that said, you know, you really shouldn't bother him on his lunch break. That's his only time to himself. I was like, oh, okay. I think he was happy when I visited him for lunch.
I think he loves it when you visit, yeah.
And I've only actually done it that one time. But anyway, so he works at Snap-on, and Snap-on is just a really big tool company.
I bet some of these people, somebody out there has Snap-on tools or has heard of them.
I'm sure they do. So he works as a buyer in the office, and so he buys materials that the tools are made out of for this local branch where we live.
And Nick works in Haywood County Schools. He works in their maintenance department. He's a carpenter in their maintenance department. So he does that, and then on the side, he makes furniture and sells it to people. So.
Okay, I lied. Let's do a few more. Let's do a few more right here. So Jared Shaw, thank you for your question. Jared says, are you planning to record another album soon, or is it on hold for now? We have talked so much about wanting to do another album, but honestly, it's pretty much on hold for now.
It's just so hard. I mean, when you're like 17, you don't really have anything to do. But
yeah, when we first made that other one.
Right. At this age, I'm like, when would I do it?
But we would love to do that at some point. We really would. Lindsay W. says, Corey, what and when did you start your love for hawks? You know, I really started getting into hawks when we worked at a place called William Holland over in Georgia. It was about a 30-minute drive for us, and I remember driving, and there's a lot of fields, and there was this power line over this big field, and there was something really big on the power line, so it caught my attention while I was driving, and I looked, and I thought, you know, what is that? And then I kind of realized, well, that's a hawk, and I didn't really think much of it again, but then every time I passed that power line, I looked for it. Okay, then I would see a little bit more, then I would be like, well, let me look for some other power lines, and I'd see some more, and then it just eventually kind of grew, and I noticed them a lot, and I would see them a lot, and I just got really interested in them, because I thought they were, like, super beautiful birds, very fierce birds, and now it's just become a thing, like, not only do I see hawks, like, the word hawk will pop up a lot, or pictures, I'll see a picture on a magazine somewhere. It's kind of strange. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like hawks have become like this almost family symbol, because now I feel like everyone else sees them.
We do, yeah. And we all talk about it. Nick will tell me, he'd be like, you never guess what I saw. I saw this big hawk doing this thing, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Even Mom and Dad last night were like, Corey, you would have loved this. And I'm already like, what kind of hawk was it? Because I know. And then something very interesting that happened recently with hawks is that the kind of naturopathic doctor we seen, and we did a video about that, but we found out that he used to be a falconer and had hawks. And I was like, what?
That's crazy.
This is crazy. So hawks definitely pop up a lot for us.
We love hawks.
We're going to do 2 more questions, and if your questions don't get answered in the video, don't worry, because we're going to type responses to them. We want to get everyone's questions answered because we appreciate everyone submitting questions. So 2 more. Anetta says she grew up getting into everything, such as dirt bikes, mud running, playing ball. Did you get into these things like that? We love watching y'all's videos. It's nice to see and hear you two and your family be witnesses for the Lord. Thank you. We had a 4-wheeler growing up, and we didn't really have like a great place to ride it here, but if we ever went to deer camp with our dad, we got to ride it.
We rode bikes. I loved riding bikes.
And like we said, we definitely played outside a ton. We made mud pies. Anything we could do outside.
But we never did sports. I didn't like sports. No. I didn't like being part of a team.
No.
I've always been a loner. I was like, there's no I in team. And they'd be like, that's right. And I'm like, yeah, but I only want to be I don't want to be a part of the team.
We never really did sports. I would say Katie is definitely more competitive than me, but I am like one of the least competitive people ever. So I just did not
I don't
not
do
like
it. It's a
sports.
monster with me. If it starts, I can't stop it. And I would have been one of those people at the sporting games, like, raging and breaking the bat over my knees. I was like, no sports. Can't do it.
No sports. All right, Brian says, how old is Olive, and when did y'all end up getting her? She's such a precious dog. Thank you. She is a hot mess express.
Yeah.
But we really love her. We got her in February of
Last year
of 22. So we've had her for over a year now, and we got her at a local shelter over in Georgia, in Blairsville, Georgia, and we saw her pictures
Gosh.
online, and
Cute.
that was about maybe a month before me and Austin got married, and we were like, well, we know that we need to just wait till, I move in, and it will be a lot easier. But we saw those pictures, and when I decided to go, I said, now look, if I go and we love the dog, we're gonna get her. So
I said that. I said, you better not go if you ain't prepared to bring a dog home, because you're going to love her. And of course, I loved her too. So she was a year old in October.
yeah, October of 22, she turned a year old. She was about 3 months when we got her.
So she's about a year and a half years old now.
Yeah, she is absolutely full of it, but she is my best little friend. I really love her. I'm really glad we got her.
She's pretty fun.
She is pretty fun. So we're going to end this video here. So thank you to everyone who has submitted the questions, but stay tuned because we're going to be doing a part 2. And like I said, if your question did not get answered in this video, or if it doesn't get answered in the next video, don't worry. Look for the answer in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. God bless you. God keep you. Look out for part 2.
Bye.